Okay, so I want to mention before this video starts that this video was researched and put together by my friend Cormanx, who has made some of my other videos before. Now this video details the absolutely disgusting actions of a Skibidi toilet YouTuber named MrEpics, and I'd really appreciate if everyone watching this video could make sure to leave a like and subscribe and watch this video until the end, and make sure to share this video with more people so everyone could be notified about how serious this MrEpics situation is. And now with that all being said, here is the video.
Hello YouTube, welcome to Parlo's YouTube channel, and this video was made by Cormanx. And today, we will be uncovering one of the most disgusting Skibidi toilet content creators on the platform, known as MrEpicreator. He has over 425,000 subscribers and makes videos that include edits that revolve around the Skibidi toilet franchise. He's also a high-ranking president who used to own the Skibidi Editor's Discord server, which has over 15,000 members. Now there are two other high-ranking presidents that include Dragon Edits and MrEpics, who are two of MrEpics' best buddies who make very similar content. They are also very useful assets who heavily assist MrEpics in covering his tracks, but we'll get to them later after we discuss MrEpics' disgusting behavior and his criminal online activities. Now before we dive into it, this situation involves very disgusting incidents that involve children. If you are not able to handle the severity of these cases, you must leave the video. In other words, viewer discretion is advised. So without further ado, make sure to grab your popcorn, soda, and drinks, and let's begin. Now, first things first, MrEpics was born on September 15, 2007, which will make him 16 years old in the making of this video. Now, although he's a minor himself, MrEpics has some horrific allegations coming his way, so we will address each one of them individually. So on May 12, 2024, MrEpics was asked if he dated an 8-year-old, to which he responded, no, but sometimes maybe yes. Basically just working his way around it and then just admitting it. Now, although one might claim that this is just a joke and shock humor, this is merely an insight to his vile and deplorable actions as we go forward with this video. And most of these allegations would stem from his private messages with another user named SmartDudeCH2. Now, one example is when MrEpics said that when he was a kid, he used to girls so much, and then adds this emoji, which indicates that he feels pleasure in the thought of doing such nasty things at a young age. But it only gets worse, because when Smart Dude asked MrEpics what was the last video that scared him the most, MrEpics would mention a type of real life horror video, to which he describes as something I just cannot mention in this video, but you would get the gist of how disgusting it is, especially when it's something that you should never mention when responding to a general question. And if you thought that this situation could not get any worse, MrEpics would bring up a topic regarding an 11-year-old asking him if he wants to see illegal images of himself. And you would think that anybody would say no, block this person, or even get them the help they needed if possible. But MrEpics says bet, which means yes, which is basically an admission to the solicitation of cheese pizza. And in most, if not all jurisdictions, it is basically against the law. And what's even more disgusting is that they actually send images of themselves. He even describes those images, and he also even put his time and effort to measure it, which means that he also admitted to engaging with cheese pizza. Yeah, I know, it's pretty disturbing. And speaking of disturbing, there's also some disturbing allegations that MrEpics had distributed cheese pizza to a group chat. But before we continue with the DMs, we'll have to go over MrEpics' response to the whole situation. But of course, we will just go over the most important parts. So sincerely, I'm getting falsely accused that quote-unquote MrEpics is a he sent cheese pizza, and they tried to display it wrongly in the best way possible. I'm feeling ashamed to say that months ago, a random guy on Telegram DMs me. By the way, he was from Russia. Slowly, we became friends, and then he randomly forwards me a video that is more likely a cheese pizza from a Telegram channel. And then my reaction was the same as yours would be. I unfriend him and take a screenshot of the video that he sent me. I was kind of traumatized, and then later on I tell my Telegram friends about this. I sent them the screenshot that a guy sent me this type of weird videos in DMs, and I also sent that screenshot to the group chat. Now here, MrEpics basically admits to committing two crimes under the same section. Number 1, screenshotting the illegal content, and number 2, distributing the screenshot online. And from this point, you can already tell that this response is really terrible, but let's continue. Now you tell me, if a random guy sends you these types of videos randomly, are you supposed to get blamed for it? Now to answer that question, of course not. But when you're just screenshotting the content and distributing it to other people, that's where the problem lies. Now, although I'm not going to read this whole entire essay because he's already admitted to committing 2 crimes as mentioned before, but on YouTube, he made another essay response in a similar fashion, but he also mentions that he sent the screenshot to his friends to ask them for help. And this is where we get back to his direct messages with Smart Dude. I remember my Russian friends sent me cheese pizza also on Telegram. LMAO. A few months ago, I showed it to all my friends like Derby, Dragon, and Meta. Why would you share cheese pizza? I couldn't digest it. I wonder though, to see their reaction. Now keep in mind that Mr. Epic claims to have sent the screenshot of the cheese pizza to his friends to ask for help. But now you see the difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Mr. Epic here. I wonder why Mr. Epic would switch from saying he wanted their reaction to saying that he asked them for help. This is really inconsistent because now he's trying to switch up his stance to make his position look better, as if it totally isn't any horrible right now. Yeah, really disingenuous. Now, something I want to mention is that MrEpic has been vocal about some allegations that I apparently asked a 13-year-old for uncensored cheese pizza. Now, this allegation is so easy for me to debunk, and you'll see why. But first things first, let me give you some context. So the 13-year-old in question goes by the name of Random Content. And it all started when Random Content replied under a YouTube video claiming that MrEpic has sent him cheese pizza and vile animal content. So I, along with another person named Asisu, have managed to get in contact with Random Content to contribute to our investigation. And that's when Random Content also claimed that MrEpic has sent him a video of two kids doing things that I just cannot describe here. But we made it very clear that Random Content should not send anything that pertains to cheese pizza. And we acknowledge that because that would be against the law. And all of this completely debunks the allegation that I apparently asked a 13-year-old for cheese pizza, because it literally never happened, and I'm completely against it. And if you want more proof that MrEpic failed to do background checks on the situation, notice how Random Content had purged all of his messages in this very group chat. And most likely, this could be an attempt to take the situation out of context. Because if I hadn't addressed the situation just now, MrEpic would try to use this situation to defame me. Well, nice try, MrEpic, but there goes your last and only trump card. Now, the last thing I want to mention for this section of this video is that MrEpic has been claiming that the evidence previously mentioned in this video were all given by people who have apparently committed some horrible acts themselves. And it seems as if anytime someone brings up his allegations, he almost always seems to bring up these people as if his situation isn't much worse. So in case he wants to have a yapping session over the same people he tries to mention every single time, I am not responsible for their actions, nor do I condone any of their wrongdoings if they are legitimized. And keep in mind that I am not saying that they are innocent or not innocent. I am merely one of Parlo's associates whom has only been invited to this community to investigate your actions. So that's their battle to fight and not mine. Because what you're doing here is called the red herring fallacy, where you try to introduce information that is irrelevant to your allegations, and it also falls under the genetic fallacy, where you try to dismiss evidence brought up against you based on their source of origin, rather than what's inside of it. And there we have it, MrEpic, your argument is now rendered useless. Now let's not forget that MrEpic tried to claim that I'm in a group chat where apparently Smart Dude and others are sharing cheese pizza gifts to each other. This is another easy debunk, as it could be one of multiple group chats that he could be talking about, and he has no proof that I'm even in this specific group chat in the first place. And unfortunately for MrEpic, this claim that he brought up against me will backfire back on him once I show the context. So MrEpic and Smart Dude were talking about some gifts and stuff, basically some gifts that are wild and dangerous as they describe themselves. Then Smart Dude says that his group chat has cheese pizza gifts, which if you're gonna use that against me, I do not support that whatsoever. So if this is not enough to show that I'm not responsible for their actions, then I don't really know what is. So let's get back on track and focus on why MrEpic's claim would backfire against him. Because MrEpic had requested to be added to the group chat that is said to have cheese pizza gifts. And you can already tell that this is not a good look. So MrEpic tries to justify this by claiming that he could expose them for sending cheese pizza in the group chat. But he only clarified this 2 months after his discussion with Smart Dude about this. And what's even worse for him is that he deleted the messages where he asked to be added to the group chat, which further harms the credibility of his case. And furthermore, he basically committed a crime once he asked to be added to the group chat, and it's still illegal even if he wants to expose such activities. And last but not least, Smart Dude told him that the group chat was full, which means that he could not have access to the group chat. So basically, it just makes no sense for him to claim that I'm in this group chat when he doesn't even know what he's talking about. Now, there is plenty more to cover about MrEpic, but we'll get to him later and focus on Dragon Edits. Now, Dragon Edits used to be an associate of MrEpic, who would also even try to defend MrEpic in this situation. He also took the role as a messenger to release MrEpic's essay response in the Skibidi editor's Discord server before it got deleted. But recently, one of my friends got me to contact Dragon Edits about the situation, and this is when Dragon Edits came to his senses. So he dissociated from Mr. Epic and his Skibidi editor's Discord server so he could let people know about the truth about this situation. So I asked Dragonetis if he can attest that Mr. Epic had sent him, Derby, and Meta the cheese pizza that the Russian guy sent him, as well as that he sent it in a group chat, which he admitted to, and Dragonetis confirms it as true, which validates Mr. Epic's self-admissions to sending cheese pizza. Now furthermore, I asked Dragonetis what was his reaction when Mr. Epic sent him the cheese pizza. Dragonetis says that he felt traumatized, which details a harsh negative impact that Mr. Epic's actions pose on his emotional well-being. And lastly, I asked Dragonetis if Mr. Epic's motive was to ask for help. Dragonetis claims that he does not remember that, but he could only remember that Mr. Epic had sent him the cheese pizza to see his reaction, as Mr. Epic admitted himself, which further highlights the premise of Mr. Epic's inconsistency and his wordplay manipulation. Now Dragonetis, if you're watching this video, I just want to let you know that you're making a really big step in the right direction by coming out about the truth regarding bad actors in this community like Mr. Epic, so I heavily honor your efforts. Now last but not least, we're gonna go over the case regarding MrEpics. But before we begin, here's a screen recording of MrEpics' Discord account, just so we can prove his identity. Now let's begin with the group chat where I got in contact with MrEpics on August 2nd, 2024. So like I asked Dragonetis, I asked MrEpics if he can attest that Mr. Epic has sent him, Derby, and Dragon the cheese pizza that the Russian guy sent him, and Meta claims this to be false. So I asked the question again to confirm if he actually means it, while also including that Mr. Epic admitted himself. Meta denies that it happened, and he also attempts to clarify that Mr. Epic had sent only the screenshot of the Russian guy's DMs. So this is where I tackled the inconsistency, because before this, Mr. Epic claimed that he took the screenshot of the video and not just those DMs. So Meta walks back on this statement and claims that it was blurred or hidden. He also claims that it isn't even cheese pizza because apparently we have little to no idea what it was. Now keep this in mind because we're gonna go back to July the 15th, which is where we had another group chat. And by the way, this was the same group chat where Mr. Epic admitted to screenshotting the video and sent the screenshot to other people before switching his narrative to make his case look better. So I introduced the topic of whether the video constitutes as CSAM or CSAM, with the main purpose of clarifying that it is illegal to distribute such content regardless of the intent. But Mr. Epic claims that it does not fall under any of those terms, and then he later describes the video on his own volition. And this is where it gets really bad, because for some odd reason, Meta claimed that there was no sexual activity in such video, which is a huge red flag. So I called this out, questioning Meta's corrupt moral compass, and he even further insinuated that two children doing such nasty things is still not sexual. So we knew the description of what the video looks like because Mr. Epic described it himself, so Meta basically tried to gaslight me because his previous statements about this issue were huge red flags. And it took him a very long time to clarify that such content was blurred or hidden in the first place. But if it was blurred or hidden, then how did we get to the point where Mr. Epic had to respond to his allegations and technically admitted to the crimes he committed? And it just shows how Meta is intentionally following Mr. Epic's heavily inconsistent narrative to maintain their business ties. And trust me when I say that it gets even worse. But before we get to that, this part revolves around a Reddit post claiming that Mr. Epic admitted to having cheese pizza, being racist, admitting to dating an 8-year-old, and other allegations before it was removed. But you may be wondering how Mr. Epic and Meta assumed that I was behind the account that made the Reddit post. So, let's get into the context. The person who made the Reddit post goes by the name of Scatman, who I recently got in contact with Meta about the Reddit post that he made. So Scatman told me that he's gonna claim my Discord username as his, and I agreed to this so that I could get in contact with MrEpics to gather more insight on the situation. And that's how this specific group chat was made on July the 15th. So when they were questioning that I made the Reddit post, I decided to clear the air and add Scatman, the actual creator of the Reddit post, into this group chat. Now this is where we get into the case. So Mr. Epic had sent what could be inferred as the alleged cheese pizza incident that occurred, but it was censored with a black screen, which alludes to the fact that someone was using this information against Mr. Epic himself. So after Mr. Epic attempted to clarify that the image being blacked out shows that the alleged incident was fake, Scatman claimed that it was edited to be there, and then he asked if they want to see the full screenshot where the cheese pizza is visible. And I told Scatman not to send the image because I do not support this at all, because this is a question that you should never ask and it can hold you liable for criminal repercussions. And by the way, the only reason I ever engaged in this conversation in the first place is because Mr. Epic literally admitted to sending the cheese pizza himself. So while I was telling everyone to not engage in this topic any further since it was a huge mistake, 3 people, including MrEpics and Mr. Epic, were asking for the cheese pizza uncensored, which is against the law regardless of the intent. And even while I was telling these people to not ask for the cheese pizza, Meta even tried to insinuate that we still had to send the raw material of the illegal content to prove that it's true, which further highlights his disgusting and corrupt moral compass. Now after this whole situation transpired, Meta tried tries to use the concept of quote-unquote joint responsibility to claim that I as well have asked them if they want to see the cheese pizza uncensored, which literally never happened. Because as I've said before, I told everyone not to ask for the cheese pizza because I do not support it. So Meta constantly tries to use the phrase "you guys" referring to me and Scatman, although it was literally just Scatman himself, to accuse me of asking if they want to see the uncensored cheese pizza. And he also tries to claim that I'm using a lack of context to quote-unquote trap him. But even with the context, you still ask for the illegal content. And that is something that you should not have cached on your hard drive, even if it's for quote-unquote investigation purposes. Like, think about it, why would you ever want to see it in the first place? Because now MrEpics is trying to use projection to shift the blame to me for his own wrongdoings. Now, originally, I did not want to include this person in the video, but given that they have a bad moral compass, they made false accusations against me, and they participated in illegal activity by asking for illegal content, I really had no other choice. Now that wraps the MrEpics situation. So to sum it all up, MrEpics has made some really disgusting admissions, including that he used to girls when he was a kid. He watched a horror video that was basically cheese pizza. He asked for and engaged with a cheese pizza sent by an 11-year-old. And he admitted to sending cheese pizzas to his friends before trying to switch narrative to make his case look better. He also falsely accused me of asking for uncensored cheese pizza from a 13-year-old. And he used the concept of guilt by association to accuse me of participating in a group chat where people share cheese pizza gifts to each other. But this would backfire against him because he asked to be added to the same exact group chat after he was given this information. Dragonettis used to be an associate of MrEpics before we had a conversation, and that is when Dragonettis testified that MrEpics had sent him cheese pizza, as MrEpics admitted himself. And MrEpics has made some really disgusting statements about the situation, which shows his highly corrupt moral compass. So MrEpics tried to gaslight me to cover up his foul statements. 3 people, including MrEpics and MrEpics, had solicited uncensored cheese pizza under the guise of investigating whether the cheese pizza incident was legitimate, which was an attempt to prompt the other side of the debate into participating in the distribution of illegal content. And finally, Meta tries to use the concept of joint responsibility to accuse me of doing what Scatman did, which literally never happened, and through this process he basically tried to use projection to shift the blame to me for his own wrongdoings. Now, as Parlo states in his videos, I do not condone the harassment or hate towards any of the individuals mentioned in this video. This video was made for informative and educational purposes only. And special thanks to Asisu for introducing me to the situation, and of course a big thanks to Parlo for giving me a voice on his channel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.
Do